Yes. So by training and education, I'm actually a school social worker. My current position is a little different than what I've been doing over the past, but if you talk to me long enough, you'll know I'm passionate about education and students and young people. So I really appreciate just the opportunity to connect a little bit today. Hobbies include anything related to international travel. I absolutely love to travel. This whole Corona thing is putting a hamper on my passport skills. So far, I've been to 23 different countries, and I can't wait to go to more. And international food, all of it. And then on the side, I love to garden, though I don't have two official green thumbs. I just take my chances by throwing seeds in the ground and praying they grow.
So, being a social worker, you definitely have like the insider view on student lives beyond school, right? So kind of with this pandemic and us kind of being forced to stay at home, what are maybe some risks that happen when students are being forced to stay isolated for so long in homes?
Students fall into the category of general humans, so they're having some of the same challenges that everyone is. I don't think we were meant to be cooped up for significant periods of time. And I think for a lot of students, even though it's hard when you're in school and we may complain about it, you actually appreciate the rhythm of a schedule. You know when your classes start, you know when they end, you know when you have your downtime. And so I think one of the biggest casualties of this situation is there isn't as much structure to the schedule, and so I think that sort of throws all of us off a little bit. And if students again fall in that category of humans, when my schedule gets off, whether it's me because I woke up late or it's me because a meeting was running late, then I get irritable, and then when I'm irritable, I'm frustrated about things that I normally wouldn't be frustrated about. And so I think just not having the control over the schedule probably is something big. Probably is something that's small that feels really big. And I think another thing that happens for a lot of students is the loss of the connectedness. Obviously, it's no surprise you guys tend to operate off of social media and you feed off of Instagram and Snapchat, but you're still in need of that human contact, that face-to-face, hug from a peer in the hallway, or, a smile from a teacher that you really like. And I think sometimes we forget, even in a social media driven world, how important that contact is with others. So I think those are some of the main risks that come to mind for me. Of course, not being dismissive of some of the more obvious ones that we talk about in social work, like abuse and neglect and things that are happening in people's homes. Those are always at the forefront of our minds. But just to kind of expand the thinking a little bit, I don't want those others to be lost.
Yeah, so thank you. I've noticed that there's been a common theme of students saying they need a routine and then experts recommending you need to develop some sort of routine so you can kind of get out of that lull and have a little bit more energy. They're very comforting, but how do you develop one? Because if you're too lazy to even, get up after 3:00 in the afternoon, like how do you even figure out what works for you?
Man, Sophie, this is the question of the age. I mean, you are a student asking me as a professional, and I'm having to redefine what a professional schedule looks like in my new world. I'm not at the office, so to speak. If I were to swivel the camera around, you would see this is like part baby room, part office, part everything, because in our lives right now, it's sort of all come together. And I think what I've done, and I can only share what's been working for me, what I would suggest is lower your expectations. So if your expectations were, I'm going to get 5 papers done, and I'm going to read the 2 books I have for class, yeah, probably not, especially when I'm waking up at 3:00. So I'm trying to lower my own expectations of what is now realistic. I'm also cooking, laundry seems to be eternal, all of the things that still need to be done. So part of what I've said is, okay, what are the absolute 2 or 3 things that must be done today, no matter what? And I've put those at the top of the list. And if I get all 3 of them done, yay, I do my little happy dance. If I only get 2 done, I still celebrate. And if only 1 gets done, I accept that as, okay, I'll get another chance tomorrow. But I've lowered my expectations, because I think the resulting guilt that we feel when we feel like we're not being as productive does not help us with motivation. It actually makes it worse, because then we're just like, oh, I said I was going to do all these things and I didn't do them, and now it's 4 o'clock and they're due, and then I feel anxious, and so it just sort of becomes a spiral. So lowering expectations of myself and then of others. Maybe there's somebody else that I'm depending on to get some things done. I don't know what their situation is like. I don't know if they have consistent, reliable internet, or I'll even confess, my phone just completely tripped out on me like 3 weeks ago, and I've not been able to make any phone calls. I know your face is telling me that's crazy. Go to Verizon, but it's not really safe to go to Verizon. So I've had to lower my expectations about what I can accomplish, and that might be the same for other people. So I think be compassionate with yourself and be compassionate with others, even in the midst of trying to develop a routine. Maybe identify 2 or 3 things that have to be done. 1 thing personally that you're going to do for yourself to take care of yourself. My schedule looks a lot different. The first couple weeks of the quarantine, I kept saying, well, man, this is a great opportunity to get back to exercise. But then I was doing so much trying to keep up with email and work assignments that I realized after like 2 weeks, I still had not exercised not 1 time. Then I said, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this a priority, because exercise is going to help me get more accomplished. And so for like the past 2 weeks, I've been on that treadmill faithfully. And I do feel better, because that's the one thing that I'm doing for me. So to summarize all of that, because I don't like to sound like I'm rambling, but lower your expectations, maybe choose 2 or 3 priorities, be compassionate with yourself and with others, and then make sure you're doing at least 1 thing to take care of yourself.